down there and go to bed.
Yes, I want my clothes down here.
You shut up. You're gonna get the law on you. You can't beat on a woman and then call her back because she ain't gonna come. You're gonna have a baby.
Listen,
I hope they haul you in and turn a fire hose on you like they done the last time.
Down here.
You stinker.
Hey, Stella! Hey, Stella!
I wouldn't mix in this.
Don't ever leave me, baby.
call the French Quarter, really, because the architecture is Spanish and the culture, the Italians just moved in and took over and pushed everything else aside, okay? And it's just, it really is that way. You know, it's really, there's such a heavy Italian influence. And the biggest place the Italian influence comes in is in the market area. And that's gonna be the French market. There's nothing French about the French market. It's German butchers, Italian grocers and bread makers. You know, United Bakery was the Logidis family. You got the Genduces doing, you know, the Genduces make French bread, for goodness sake, right? Okay, it's not French people making French bread, it's an Italian, you get the idea. The French Quarter did not really become Americanized for a very, very long time. Even after the Civil War, you don't get it, because after the Civil War, it becomes Italians. It's really that turn of the century to 1920 or so. That's when it's that late that the French Quarter gets.
Visit an unusual summer camp for young women,
Garland is not the character in Gone with the Wind that you want to try to emulate.
where they recreate life in the antebellum South
Away down south in Dixie.
on the eve of secession in 1861.
Your wealth is held in land and slaves.
It's a revealing insider's look at how the past
I salute the Confederate flag.
still haunts the present.
It just seems like we're always the bad guys.
Southern Belle.
There ain't nothing sweet about the history of the Southern Belle. The idealized image you see today has about as much to do with the South's real history as Florida Georgia Line has to do with real country music. The modern image of the Southern Belle was actually created by the Southern gentleman as a way of coping with losing the Civil War. See, after Dixie tasted defeat, the South had an opportunity to confront its history of oppression, to soberly assess their past wrongdoings, apologize for those sins, and commit to a path toward equality and justice for all. All of which they did not do. They just started making up to make themselves look better. Just like Southern historians try to convince America that slavery was like a trip to Sandals, South Carolina, The myth of the Southern Belle played a crucial role in trying to justify the segregation and racial violence that followed emancipation. I kind of think that this is like arguably worse than Holocaust denial even, because with Holocaust denial, they're acknowledging, oh yeah, a Holocaust, that would be a terrible thing, which is why we never did that, right? That's their lie. But with the South and slavery, it's like, oh, slavery absolutely happened. It just wasn't that bad.
Because they don't have weddings at Auschwitz, but they sure do throw weddings in plantations in Charleston, so...
All the time. Actually, when I was engaged, somebody even made that suggestion to me. They were like, you should totally get married on a plantation. And I went, oh, have we not seen my face? No.
See, the Belle was a physical incarnation of the sophistication and gentility of the Old South. Perfect hair, flawless manners, and hoop dresses so big you can hide centuries of human rights abuses under them. And, precious flower that she was, the Southern Belle's purity had to be protected from the threat supposedly posed by newly freed slaves.
What we begin to see in the Reconstruction era is the role of the Belle becoming a cover story for the rise of the Klan and for racial violence.
This dynamic was presented in Birth of a Nation, a 3-hour-plus revenge fantasy released in 1915 that would make John Wick blush.
The film portrays white women in the South as fragile and virtuous, as needing to be protected both from African American men, former slaves, and from Northern carpetbaggers who've come down to the South. So the film really helped give great life to the myth of the Southern Belle and create a notion that Southern women needed to be protected. And that ties up with the myth of the black male rapist, which is still used in the South as a kind of scare tactic.
Now I want to clarify something. Even if this image of the Southern Belle as the genteel, pristine symbol of Southern beauty were true, the violence it attempted to justify would still be wrong. But here's the thing, that image was bullshit.
Very few white women would have led the kind of grand life portrayed in a film like Gone with the Wind. Most were yeoman farmers, but the myth of the Southern lady helped serve a kind of compensation because it made whiteness better than blackness.
Not exactly the stuff of Pinterest memes.
You know, the Southern Belle is a married white woman with this status. And, you know, as a black woman in the South, I am not either of those things. I am not a married lady. I'm not a white lady. And I don't have any status.
So why does the myth of the Southern Belle persist today? Well, because don't nobody know this.
In the South, there's a certain amount of Southern brainwashing that goes on.
Also, people are receptive to the idea that they were not the bad guys. Do you know what I mean?
Well, because Southern Belle sounded way better than supportive slavery.
Right, because who wants to be called assistant slave master? Nobody wants that title.
The image of the Southern Belle has been fully packaged and sold, and the history has been left behind. Just listen to the admiration in the voices of the cast of Bravo's Southern Charm as they give their definition of a Southern Belle.
A Southern Belle is always coiffed and perfect looking.
Being a Southern Belle is just all about manners.
A true Southern woman can charm the dew right off a honeysuckle.
So do I blame folks for continuing to uphold the Southern Belle archetype today? Not really. I mean, being from the South myself, I get that we have to be really selective about honoring our history if we want to be able to sleep at night. It's like rummaging through a scrapyard to find a functional carburetor amid the husk of rotting pickup trucks. So if you want to post a picture of yourself sipping a mint julep on the front porch with the hashtag Southern Belle, that's fine. I definitely don't want no smoke from Charleston's answer to Snooki. But we shouldn't put the issue to bed either, primarily because the psychology that fueled the creation of the Southern Belle is still active today. In fact, when a white terrorist walked into a church in South Carolina and began gunning down parishioners, survivors say he explicitly mentioned black men raping white women as the motivation for his racist killing spree. So even if we don't stop calling our daughters Southern Belles, we might want to stop treating them like one. And let's raise our mint juleps to the idea that Southern women are our equals. Except for Tammy Wynette. She's way better than you and me.